Does Fright Fest have a catchphrase? Not really for an opening, no. Yeah. Hey everyone! So if you've been following this channel, which I hope you had, you have seen that I've spent the entire last 2 months hanging out at Six Flags for Fright Fest. Thrills by chills, fright by night. I got that completely wrong. But I did a couple of vlogs, yeah, which you can all watch below if you haven't seen them. I gave my input throughout the vlogs, obviously, about what I was excited about, what I didn't like, what I did like, etc., what was going on in the parks. Tried to be as informative as possible while the event was still going on, so anyone that was going to said event could enjoy it and get some more insight and kind of know the ins and outs like I do. In my last vlog, the final vlog that I put out, I also mentioned that I want to do a complete wrap-up of the event now that it has ended, which I am still sad about. It's been a couple weeks and it's just sinking in that we don't have Fright Fest for a whole other year and I am not ready. This is my event. I look forward. It actually was the best year so far, and they could either continue to keep on going up or just completely go down, because if you do also know, I'm not the huge Six Flags fan, as I don't have much Disney right here, you can't tell, but you can kind of assume that I am a Disney fanatic, because I do have Haunted Mansion behind me there. There's my hint of Disney, because that's my park. But I do enjoy Six Flags, and I am looking forward to their holiday in the park that's going to come up in a couple weeks, as well as Fright Fest. That's it. I honestly like Six Flags only for their events, so their seasonal events. They do a fantastic, amazing, phenomenal job with Fright Fest, and they do a fantastic, amazing, phenomenal job with Holiday in the Park. Both of these events, I was blown away. Mainly from the entertainment, I was blown away. The rides are very subpar. They have improved, as I've said previously, with this Justice League ride they put in. They've improved there. That one is an amazing, excellent ride, and I do enjoy going on it. But that's the only one I look forward to going on to. Majority of the time, I will be going to the park and just getting the food there. And just because I have the dining plan, that's the only reason, and it's worth it, because otherwise their food is expensive as shit and it's not worth it. But you pay 80 bucks this time of year for the following year dining plan, you get the cup, you get a snack and lunch and a dinner credit, and you will save mad money, which is so important. And then I also go to the shows and the trails, and that's what makes the event for me. The entertainment that they put into and the money they put into said entertainment makes it worthwhile to go to the park as often as I do. I don't go during the summertime. I rarely go during the summer. I just go during Fright Fest and for the holidays. And that alone is worth the season pass, clearly, but I don't use it for the rest of the year. As I'm rambling on about the whole process, I just wanted to wrap up and give input about what I thought about this season's Fright Fest, from their entertainment value to the trails, which is semi-entertainment, but break it up into parts. And I'm only going to focus on the nighttime because I didn't do daytime enough, and I only got to do 2 shows. One really wasn't. Just Sea Lions weren't really a Halloween show. They just put Halloween music over the normal Sea Lion presentation that they did. That was very subpar. And then Professor Slither's Creepy Critters was the only one I ever saw, which I adored. So those are my daytime reviews. Those are the 2 things I saw, but the rest of it I did the trails, and I wanted to mainly focus on the trails of what I thought about them. And again, I'll go through the entertainment. So, starting off with the trails, there were 7 trails altogether. Obviously, all of these were an upcharge. You could either pay for a wristband or get the Haunted Maze Pass, which I did. And they also decided to raise up the price halfway through the season. So opening weekend, you could get the pass for $35 or express for $55. That was only for opening weekend as a special. Normally it would be $40 for the pass and express would be $60. And then halfway through the season, which is of course I waited halfway through to get it, they raised it up to $45 for the pass and express was $65. So lesson learned, next year, get it right in the beginning for the lowest price possible and just enjoy, because the trails were really fun to do. Going through them a couple times, I really had fun and I definitely want to continue and do that again. I don't know, I think I might just get express. Even though it wasn't bad, the couple nights we went, we would always go on Fridays, and that was another change of it. Saturdays and Sundays were probably crazy insane. I know Saturdays were insanity. That's why I never went on a Saturday besides that one time. And the closer it gets to Halloween, the crazier it gets. So Fridays was wonderful because they're only open from 5:30 to midnight. It's great. Mainly only season pass holders go because you're paying for a full price ticket for only half the day. And that was my prime time. So most of the time we would go to the trails and it would only be about a 10-minute, 20-minute wait to walk through these trails. That's the most I would do because the fact the trails are only about 2 to 5 minutes long walking through. There were certain trails that were longer in length than others, and they were the newer trails that they were pushing, but they were really nice. I enjoyed every single trail I went through, and I went through a majority of them. I only missed 2. I missed Bloodshed and I missed Total Darkness, and that's because, if you remember, just backtracking from the other previous vlog, I was wearing Harley Quinn heels. The night that I was doing all the trails, I was wearing these. And these shoes aren't bad. They were super comfortable, but because you see that they're heels, I wasn't going to trust myself walking in complete darkness, because there were a couple of trails that had sections of pitch black darkness in there, and even with that, I'm just like, I'm holding on. I don't want to hit anything. I don't want to bump into anything. So that was my honest reason why I didn't do Total Darkness. The other one was Bloodshed, which I would have done, but we just skipped that one for some reason. So that has been in the past. That one probably will come back again, or they'll do a variation of it, but I'm sure it was the same as everything else. We did all the trails in one night, minus those 2. So the 5 trails I did in the order that we went that night. Wicked Woods. Wicked Woods I really enjoyed. I mentioned that it gave me a very Roanoke feel to it, American Horror Story. It was all about fairy tales, clearly, Wicked Woods. And it was interesting that they took a lot of more creepypasta tales as well as unknown fairy tales, probably for intellectual property reasons. It might have been easier. There were tales that I didn't know, and I only went through it once, so I couldn't recall everything that was happening, but I did. They had Slender Man in there, which was awesome. They had a bunch of Slender Man statues. They had the tale of the Owl Man, which I still haven't looked up, so I'm not sure what that's about. And the Sasquatch, the Yeti type of deal. They had that they were looking for Sasquatch, and the elements were really cool. They had, it was by the lake, so it was a very long trail. Everything was outdoors, but it was nice to be able to walk through. And the highlight that I've noticed with a lot of these trails overall is they don't really have as many scare actors. They rely more on statues that fulfill the scenes, and they pop scare actors in between. And so all these people were dressed as fairy tale-esque characters, but you were so distracted by all the scenery that was going around, the atmosphere, and I wasn't even scared. People were scared behind me running, but there were so many elements going on that you really need to take 4 or 5 times going through the trails to really take a look at everything, and that's nice. It is a nice thing that they have. The second trail that we went through was Big Top Terror in 3D. I didn't wear my 3D glasses all the way through. I had them on for half of the walkthrough. It was indoors. It was in a sound stage area, which was really nice and honestly I just liked the way it looked. Everything was clowns and bright bold colors because it was supposed to pop out at you, and it was just very blacklit, everything, neon everywhere. It just looked really cool. And they had a good amount of clowns in there, and I was dressed as Harley Quinn that night, so I got a lot of jokes about Harley Quinn and how I like clowns too much, and I had so much fun with that. But because I had a wig on, that also was a hard thing to get the glasses on, so I had them like down here, and halfway through I was like, nope, I'm just gonna take them off and walk through because it was just easier. So that one was a really good one as well. It was very solid, but it's just basic clowns. It's been here a couple of years. I don't have that much input about it. It was good. The third one we went through was the Manor. Now the Manor I loved for the pure reason of it being that very Tower Terror, Haunted Mansion mashup feel to it. It was set in like 30s music. They had the most amazing soundtrack playing in there. And like I said before, I would just be in that area in the front just to listen to that music all night. They were playing all my favorites, and I was the one just being like, let me dance through this trail as they're trying to scare you. I'm just bopping along, having a fun time because of how fun the music was. It was a very short one. It was also in the soundstage. Total Darkness and the Manor were both in sound stages next to each other. I don't know how long Total Darkness was, but the Manor was very short-lived. It was basically you going through a typical mansion haunted house. Very pretty, but there were some elements that did get you. They had one of those hallways where it was kind of compression and you had to walk one by one through it. And then there was more animatronics. And this is the thing too, they had to use statues and animatronics compared to scare actors in these trails. And this one was a very animatronic heavy trail as well. Then afterwards we went through Aftermath, my personal favorite for obvious reasons because my best friend worked there. So therefore, it wasn't scary. It really was not a scary trail, and that's why I had more fun just walking through it. Christina, if you remember from the last one as well, kind of said it reminded her of Walking Dead. I don't watch Walking Dead. I'm not that big a zombie fan. It reminded me more of High Rise, the Tom Hiddleston movie, but with zombies. So it's kind of a mix between the two of them. And they were zombies, and you're going through, it's post-apocalyptic, very basic, very fun. It was a good length. That one was also a really good length too. And you like jazz. So our final one that we did was Cell Block 6. And that one was very long as well. That one was fun. It was set in a prison, and it wasn't scary for the fact that it was a bunch of hot guys that were dressed as like SWAT team and prison people, and you can't make that scary. Like, I know some people were afraid of it, but it was interesting to see. And again, that one as well, I also got a lot of Harley Quinn jokes because of the fact that she's a criminal, and everyone was asking me where's Mr. J at, and I was at the entire night. I kept getting asked where's Mr. J. And so going through there, that was another one where you didn't really get what you expected. There were rooms up ahead where they had mannequins dressed in the jumpsuits, orange jumpsuits, and you could see in the rooms they're like, okay, let's grab on, we're gonna get people jumping out at you. None of that happened. It was very, and this is a thing that was a very big theme in a lot of the trails overall. You expected something to happen and there was nothing. So you also, for my sake, I put myself more on defense, preparing myself for something that didn't even happen. So it was more of a disappointment in that sense of things, that I was expecting to get a scare and there was no scares. It kind of transformed a little bit weird in that scene too, where you went from the typical prison outbreak, and then as you continued to keep walking, you pass through into the morgue, and then through the morgue you get to like grim toilets, gritty things, skeletons and wheelchairs, and mess in toilets. So it was more of a strange trail. It was fun. I enjoyed that one, but that's something I would definitely do again with people. I wouldn't want to go through that trail by myself. And yeah, those are the trails. Moving on to entertainment for the season, we had about 4 or 5 shows. I didn't go to the one show, the Doctor something, I don't remember. I'll put the name here. Oddities show, because of that I'm a squeamish person, and I wasn't really in the mood to see people sword swallow, to stick hooks through their nostrils and to do the tongues and body modification. That's not me. I'm a squeamish person. So that's the only one I skipped. Everything else, though, I saw every single time I basically went to the park, and or if not every single time, every other time. I saw all the shows at least 7 or 8 times, honestly, or 4 to 5 times I've seen all the shows. Dead Man's Party has returned. Dead Man Party is an obvious favorite of ours. Clearly, we see it multiple times a night, so that one is always fantastic. The Awakening before Dead Man's Party was amazing. They stepped up their game so much, and the fact that they put a backstory to this and just made it into a whole production was so flawless. I loved going to that every single time, and it just helped kick off your night. It just helped jumpstart the night into knowing that it was going to be fantastic. So The Awakening / Dead Man's Party, I classify into like a category. Both are fantastic. 10 out of 10. Unleashed was a new show this year. It was replaced Slash from last year, and Slash last year we saw one time completely horrible. It was very awkward, it was very unsettling. They tried to be funny, they weren't funny, so I was really happy to see that they came out with Unleashed. It was supposed to be steampunk acrobats, it wasn't really steampunk, but it also was very fantastic, and they were full of talented people that did acrobats, that did dancing. It was a variety show, but it was very insane talent that was happening. And that was also 10 out of 10. I saw it several times. Then you had, on the other side of the park, Corvix, who was a singer from YouTube, and I didn't know about him. He was up and coming, but he's from the New York area, and his shows are really great. He is a very talented singer. The couple times that we went to the shows, they seemed to have a lot of technical difficulties, so that is one thing that lowered it a little bit, but he did 4 songs for each set, and he had 4 sets per night, I believe. So we went once a night, basically, and he was only there Friday and Saturday, was not there Sunday. And the songs were good. He did 3 covers and his 1 original song. His original song is really fantastic, and I really appreciated that the dancers were all sizes, that it wasn't just one skinny size. They actually had bigger girls, and it was nice to see some good body positivity and that anyone can do this. So that was a positive feat. I would give that 8 out of 10 stars. And finally you have Ignite, which was a fire breathing show. That one, the guy came from America's Got Talent, which is really cool, and again, extremely talented. It was your classic sexualized as much as you can for a family-friendly park show where you had the hot girls. There was some illusion, there was fire breathing, and it was about a 10-minute show, again, several times a night. That one was really good. It just was a little bit strange at times, but all of these were very enjoyable. So that one I would give about 7 out of 10. They all were really great. They were extremely well done, especially compared to what they've done in the past. So kudos to Six Flags for actually having fantastic 10-star entertainment. Finally, you have your scare zones. These are the weakest part of Six Flags Fright Fest, because they don't put the money into it because it's free. And Six Flags is greedy, and that is just a fact. They put more of their scares actors into the trails that you have to pay for. And even when I went through it on Fridays, they did not have that many scare actors throughout the trail. So I'm not sure where all these people that they hire are, because they always say that they hire hundreds and hundreds of scare actors, and then you only see like 5 to 10 at most in the scare zones. And then maybe like 10 to 15 in the trails. There's 7 trails, so that's like 70 people right there for the trails alone. Plus like maybe whatever rotation is. And then there's like 4 scare zones. So maybe 200 people a night that are scare actors that you see. But that's just my experience. However, you have your couple of scare zones. You have your Demon District over by Movie Town, which is one of the better ones. The atmosphere alone of this scare zone is fantastic. It looks beautiful. There's lasers. It's just fog. It's like green fog. It's just awesome. So that's just a cool environment to hang out in. That one has always been one of my favorites. And then you have your clowns, which is typical. They're fun. It's not really scary. And it got changed to Carnival this year compared to from Psycho Circus. It's now Carnival. Then you have your Bloody Fountain, which is just a mishmash of zombies in the front of the park. And then you have your Lady of the Lake, which is new. That one was a really pretty one. Again, aesthetic-wise, it looks beautiful. I wasn't scared going through it. I probably annoyed the actors because I couldn't be scared. And I'm just like, you're really pretty. You're really beautiful. And I meant it. They're really pretty. They had a graveyard, but it just was the way it was lit is gorgeous. And then you have your Bone Butcher Territory, whatever it's called, which has like 2 cowboy-esque scare actors in at a time. There's like no one there. So I only count that. You can see how weak it is, but they are fun. And it's fun to just watch them scare people for free. That's entertainment enough to be able to people watch and to see them scare the people. But besides that, there's nothing special about the scare zones. What brings it in is the shows and the trails. And I definitely appreciate the trails. I just wish they weren't as expensive. They should lower the price of the season pass ticket for the trails again. But they're probably not going to, and they're probably going to raise it even more next year, unfortunately. But that's it. I would say that's my complete wrap up of everything important when it comes regards to Fright Fest. It is such a fantastic event. I adore it. I miss it so much. And I cannot wait to go next year. Until then, you guys can stay spooky. And I'll see you in the next one.